Hello everybody, my name is Katrina and today I'm going to be talking about the top 5 books that I read during summer. In Australia it is coming into autumn, and during the past couple of months, and I say a couple of months because I actually didn't finish any books in December, I've read some really great books and I wanted to shout about them even more if I haven't shouted about them enough already. Just share my love for these books because I think they are definitely worth the read. So let's jump into it. The first book I'm going to talk about is Renegades by Marissa Meyer, and I actually listened to the audiobook for this one, which was a great way to enjoy the book. I thought the two narrators, there's 2 different perspectives in here, so we get to 2 different voice actors. I thought they did a fantastic job really capturing the voice of those characters, and also in the dialogue when we have other characters speaking, tweaking their voices just enough to really differentiate between them but not sound gimmicky. As for the actual story itself, it's about superheroes and villains and kind of blurring the line between the two. People with these supernatural abilities, they're called prodigies, and they have things like being able to produce acid from their skin or being able to transform into someone's worst fear. So like pretty hectic stuff going on here. Some really cool abilities, and I just had so much fun following our 2 main characters who are on these opposing sides. Aiden is a renegade and they're kind of viewed as superheroes, and then Nova is an anarchist, one of their enemies. It was really cool seeing these 2 and their lives intertwining and kind of breaking down each other's walls and really making each other challenge the way that they think about the world and their beliefs. I thought that was really interesting to see. It was really cool learning about the different powers that people can have and actually seeing them use them in battle. I thought that was pretty epic, so I would definitely recommend Renegades. I loved it so much. Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shannon Maguire. This is the 3rd book in the Wayward Children series, and I'm not going to go into the synopsis of this because it's the 3rd book in a series and it definitely does spoil something that happens in book 1. Even though these are kind of more companion books, we do follow different main characters. Book 2 is like a prequel. This one does happen after book 1 and it does majorly spoil something that happens, so I'm not going to talk about that. But the general idea for this series, it's all about these kids who find a door into another world. Think portal fantasies like Alice in Wonderland, Narnia. Sometimes these kids accidentally or are forced back through doorways into their plain old Earth, back to their old world. And in the first book, it's set in Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children, where we have these kids who have come out of these fantasy worlds and really are struggling to adjust again. They really want to go back. These books are all novellas as well. They're around 160, 170 pages each, and there's so much goodness packed into all of these books. I'm really enjoying the series so much. We get to know so much about the characters and these worlds in so few pages. I think Shannon Maguire does a really good job just cramming so much information there, but it's not info dumpy or anything like that. It's woven through really seamlessly. It flows really well. The development of the characters and the worlds are just so rich and vivid, and I loved it. One of the things I really enjoyed about this one is that we get to explore a world that is really whimsical and nonsensical and illogical, and I can understand that some people might not enjoy that as much, especially compared to the other books in the series, but that was something I really liked about this one in particular. This book and the second book, Down Among the Sticks and Bones, is kind of sitting at first place out of the series in my mind, and for very different reasons, because while this is really whimsical, book 2 was super dark and super eerie, and it was just so fabulous. This is also a really diverse series as well. The main character in this book is fat, so it was really cool seeing some fat representation. I have heard some good and bad things about this rep though. One of the critiques comments on the fact that the main character's weight is talked about so much, maybe a little too much, especially in comparison to some of the other diverse identities. It just seems to be brought up a lot and really emphasized. So that's one thing I did want to mention, but I'm enjoying this series so very much and I cannot wait for more books in the series. Next I have Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the 3rd and final book in the Illuminae files, which is a series that you guys have heard me rave about so many times. It's a really action-packed sci-fi series. The first book, Illuminae, follows an invasion of a planet. There was this company that set up an illegal mining settlement on a planet. Another company heard about it and was like, hey, we're gonna come in, invade the planet and take all of your gains. And they think that they can get away with it, but we have 2 main characters that get on a ship and they're trying to escape. It's a really twisty and turny series. You are put through a lot as a reader. You experience shock, anger, sadness, happiness, all of the emotions, I swear. I think Amy and Jay did a really good job of pulling off a solid conclusion to this series. I was not disappointed whatsoever. I didn't find that there was a lot of shock value in this one, especially in comparison to books 1 and 2, but the action never stops. It is relentless, it is stressful, very stressful at times, but I was just so gripped throughout the entire book and the entire series. I also just really appreciate how much I'm able to connect to the characters considering the format of the book. So it is a collection of files. We have emails, we have maps, instant messages, illustrations, a whole collection of different formats in here. So we're not actually getting one single character's thought process. We do have some diary entries, so that's a little bit more of an insight into that character's thoughts, but it's not a novel with first or even third person narration where we're getting more of what's going on in their mind. It's all of their actions and the things that they're explicitly saying to other characters in emails or messages. But even still, I didn't find that I had any trouble connecting with those characters or getting a sense of who they were, but I would really urge you guys to at least try Illuminate. I don't think this is necessarily a series for everyone considering the format. I can definitely understand that some people might struggle to get into it or really connect to the characters and the world, but if you're like me, it completely sucks you in. Would recommend. The next book is Morningstar by Pierce Brown. This is the third book in the Red Rising saga, which has now been extended with the release of Iron Gold, but the first trilogy, this is kind of the conclusion to that. It took me a little while to read this, but that was because I was slumping hardcore. I'm not going to go into specifics because this is the third book, but also I think you kind of need to go into the series not knowing too much about it. I definitely think that's the best way to experience it. What I will say about the first book, Red Rising, is that we follow Darrow. He is a red, and society is divided up into a hierarchy of colors. The very lowest is red. Darrow is at the bottom, the very, very bottom of society. He lives in this mining colony on Mars, and shit hits the fan, to put it lightly. Oh my gosh. It is an incredibly, incredibly action-packed sci-fi series, and this series throws your heart into a blender and then drinks it and enjoys the hell out of it. This book was no exception. It was incredibly intense. My poor heart really struggled. I thought I was gonna die at some points, and I don't know how I survived it, but I did. I'm here to tell the tale, and I'm here to tell you that you should read it. Please do. Aside from being a super action-packed, fast-paced series which just keeps you flipping those pages, my favorite thing about it was absolutely the characters. We have such an eclectic cast of characters and you just fall so in love with them. They're definitely flawed. You definitely don't agree with everything that they do. Some of them do very questionable things, or they disgust you, or they aggravate you, but these characters are so complex and layered that you really do learn to empathize with even the ones that you hate. It's hard to forget some of the things they do in the past, but at the same time you understand them and you still kind of like them in one way or another. Even if it's just because you like the fact that they're a horrible person, you just love to hate them. The final book that I have to show you will not come as a surprise whatsoever because this was a reread. It is a childhood favorite, and if you haven't guessed what that was, it was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I finally got around to reading the illustrated edition. Don't ask me why it took me so long. I literally bought this on the day it came out. It took me so long. I don't understand it. I finally did it and it was so worth it. I thought the illustrations were absolutely gorgeous. I really enjoyed the experience of reading one of my childhood favorites with so many visual elements as well. Like, it's not the same as watching the movie, which is an adaptation, but actually having that main original text with all of these gorgeous, gorgeous visual elements to complement it as well. I think it was fantastic. I so very much enjoyed it. It just made it an even more magical experience, if that is even possible. I don't know. Like so many people, this is one of my favorite series of all time, and even though this is a reread, I still wanted to mention it in this video because A, it was a different format this time. It was slightly different, but also because I just want to continue sharing my love for the Harry Potter series, and if you haven't read it yet, I would absolutely urge you to do so. The lovely Lily of Lily C Reads has been documenting her experience reading the Harry Potter series for the first time. It is quite spoilery. She has like a vlog section as she's like word vomiting her thoughts as she's reading as she goes. I've been really enjoying watching her experiencing these books for the first time and all of her theories and things like that. It just makes me wish that I could read these for the very first time again, not knowing the story and everything that happens. I'll have links to Lily's videos in the description if you haven't seen them already. I hope that during the last couple of months you've also read some good books. If there are some absolute standout things that you read, I would love to hear about those in the comment section below. I always welcome new recommendations. But that is all that I have for this video, so thank you guys so much for watching. If this is something that you'd like to see me do again throughout the year, let me know as well. Otherwise, I'll see you very soon in a new video, but until then I will talk to you in the comments. Bye!